Hey, Jules Buzz Vegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. God bless you 1,000 times if you are dealing with weather. I think most of us are in some capacity. I'm in the high desert, but it is pouring rain. Sadly, our heater, our system is out for the 48 hours that we're having the severe storm. So we have a fire in the fireplace. We have a teeny little floor heater. Otherwise, we're just wearing warm things and we're just trying to make our way. I know people have it 1,000 times worse. So prayers all around. Try and stay safe out there. And let's get into this article on insulin resistance and diabetes. This is kind of my second in the series. I know a ton of people are dealing with insulin resistance. They don't even know they have it. And this one is actually from the Centers for Disease Control. And as always, I will include this in the description of the video because it's full of hyperlinks and you can go a little deeper. This is personal. I want to learn more about it for myself. Basically, my story is I was standard American diet forever. Finally, about 4 years ago, I found out about veganism. I found out about eating plant-based. A bunch of my ailments were healed. Then I started playing games. About a year ago, I started within plant-based, started playing with, because you can be a junk food vegan, right? So got in kind of the junk food at one point, got into tons of fruit and vegetables, but like tons, okay? All these things. And in the interim, I ended up getting COVID at Christmas time. My asthma was horrifically affected. Now, my asthma had been arrested from me eating properly. But when I got back into the game playing, because processed food is processed food, even if it's plant-based or considered vegan, my asthma started to act up. So by the time I got hit with COVID, my asthma was through the roof. And so they ended up having to give me steroids. I went through a few rounds of prednisone and an antibiotic, which I hadn't done for years, but it was really scary to just not be able to breathe, okay? Well, then as a result, whatever was left of my good microbiome, I absolutely zapped out. So it made me really susceptible. You know, luckily we're only, at the end of month 3? We're almost to month 4. I have 8 months to pull this year around and I want to do it. But I wanted to know more about insulin resistance because the last video I did, there were many things in there where it was kind of like aha or a light bulb where it was like, that is like too familiar and a little too close to home. So yes, I'm informing myself and hoping you'll be informed too. And again, I'll include this in the description of the video. It's from the Centers for Disease Control. Not everybody trusts them, but this is a peer-reviewed article. It does look good to me, and we're just using it for information. No one's making you buy and do it or change anything, but let's just see what's up. Oh, and another thing is if you want it in Spanish, it will flip to Spanish and print out in Spanish as well, which is great. All right, invisible changes in the body begin long before a person is diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. That's what's so scary. Like, you're not even aware that it's already going on in your body. And that was what was going on with my kidneys. And you can go right up into the Jules search and put in kidneys, and you'll see that I had no idea. I had no symptoms that my kidneys were about to shut my life out, seriously. So that's why it's really important we get ahead of this. Okay, so that's both bad news, no symptoms mean you won't know you have it, and good news, you can prevent or delay it if you're at risk. One of the most important unseen changes, insulin resistance. Insulin, blood sugar, and type 2 diabetes. Insulin is a key player in developing type 2 diabetes, which seems to be all the rage, right? But it's not lovely. Luckily, unlike type 1 diabetes, it is preventable and it can be reversed. Praise God. This vital hormone, you can't survive without it, meaning insulin, regulates blood sugar, which we often know as glucose, in the body. A very complicated process. Here are just the highlights of it. Let's try and follow it. Number 1, the food you eat is broken down into blood sugar. Blood sugar enters your bloodstream, which signals the pancreas to release insulin. Insulin helps blood sugar. This is imperative. So if I was in class, put on your ears. Put on your thinking cap and your ears. Insulin helps blood sugar enter the body cells so it can be used for energy. And that's everything. That is everything. That glucose has to get into the cells, and 50% of those cells go to your brain. The rest is distributed throughout your body. It has to get in Insulin resistance doesn't allow that process. We're going to learn about that. Insulin also signals the liver to store blood sugar for later use. I mean, it's this amazing system. Everything is, working together. Blood sugar enters cells and levels in the bloodstream decrease, signaling insulin to decrease too. Like, how much do you need to spill in there? Like, it's all a good system when it's working. Lower insulin levels alert the liver to release the stored blood sugar, so energy is always available even if you haven't eaten for a while. That's when everything works smoothly, right? Like a symphony. But this finely tuned system can quickly get out of whack. That's what's going on for many people. Number one, a lot of blood sugar enters the bloodstream. Not a balanced amount, a lot. The pancreas pumps more insulin to get blood sugar into the cells. Over time, cells stop responding to all that insulin. They become insulin resistant. The pancreas keeps making more insulin to try to make more cells respond. Eventually, the pancreas can't keep up and blood sugar keeps rising. Because remember what a beautiful complement it was? It went in for one, it opened the cell walls for another, it shut down, the liver to say we're good when it was working. When it isn't, it's pumping too much. This one's overcompensating. This one's trying to make up to get the energy out, and pretty soon everyone's just drowning, which I so get. Excuse me. Lots of blood sugar in the bloodstream is very damaging to the body and needs to be moved into cells as soon as possible. There's lots of insulin too, telling the liver and muscles to store blood sugar. When they're full, the liver sends the excess blood sugar to fat cells to be stored as body fat, which we're seeing everywhere. And trust me, I still wear a bigger bodysuit than I prefer. I'll just put it that way. So I'm just in this process sharing. But honestly, when you look at people, men and women, and sometimes if they've cut it off from the neck up, you don't know if it's a man or a woman, because the body kind of responds in the same way. I mean, it's really hard. I'm so sorry. Yep, weight gain. And what's more serious, the stage is set for pre-diabetes and type 2 diabetes, which we're going to talk about. So do you have insulin resistance? How do you find out if you're insulin resistant? No one test will tell you. But if you have high blood sugar levels, high triglycerides, which is a kind of blood fat, high LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, and low HDL, which is the good cholesterol, your healthcare provider may determine that you have insulin resistance. Important note, type 1 diabetes is different. It's thought to be caused by an autoimmune reaction. The body attacks itself by mistake. People with type 1 diabetes don't make enough insulin and need to take it to survive. Yeah, let's not confuse those two. What causes insulin resistance? It isn't exactly clear what causes insulin resistance. I don't know if that's true. I mean, they just talked about the process, and that process of going from completely smooth in an alignment to chaos seemed to be based on what was being put in the body. I mean, let's be fair. So it's not exactly clear, but family history of type 2 diabetes, being overweight, especially around the waist, and being inactive all can raise the risk. You do not have to be overweight. Children, you do not have to be overweight to have insulin resistance. You can't tell if someone has insulin resistance by looking at them. How to reverse it? I'm always open to the good news. If you have insulin resistance, you want to become the opposite, more insulin sensitive. Cells are more effective at absorbing blood sugar, so less insulin is needed. How? One, physical activity. It makes you more sensitive to insulin. One reason why it's cornerstone of diabetes management and good health in general. Don't wait until you're diagnosed with diabetes to start moving more. The earlier you take action, literally, the better off you'll be. And number two, weight loss is important too, as is avoiding high blood sugar, reducing stress, and getting enough sleep. Physical activity can help you get more Z's too. Yeah, ideally, if you've expended your energy for the day, you're going to go to sleep more easily. These lifestyle changes really work. Talk with a healthcare provider about how to get started. I mean, that's it. Like, that's just super basic right there. I'm going to go into just one of these, the prediabetes. Prediabetes. And again, this is from the Centers for Disease Control. You know what? I'm going to wait on that. If these get too long, people don't stick around and it's too important to talk about, so I'm going to talk about it tomorrow. But as always, like if you like, join us if you haven't, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below. Can you relate? Do you have insulin resistance? Do you fear that you have it? Do you want more information? I'm an information girl. I am not afraid to look things up. But we are going to talk about prediabetes in my next video, right? Yeah, because it's pouring rain. Like I said, it's freezing in here. I know I look like I just got off a beach in Hawaii, but no. So yeah, I'm going to go get warm. I'm going to dry my kids off, meaning my dogs. Oh my goodness. The two puppies that are huge, I'll have to share. I got puppies a couple months ago. They're not quite 5 months old, and I got them at 2 months, so just barely 3 months. We're just playing outside for fun in the rain. They are soaked. So I'm going to go dry them off and maybe give them some warm towels out of the dryer. And then bring the other two babies who are not wet secretly into the bedroom. Because they're older, and I tell the puppies that these kids have privileges and you'll earn them sometime. All right, my friends. Until we talk again, best of all, we can turn insulin resistance around. We can avoid type 2 diabetes. Let's talk about it here. And until we do, know that you're blessed.